What's up, legends? Welcome back to another insane episode. It's your boy, Chronos, here to drop part 2 of What If Deku Had Ultra Instinct? Things are heating up, and trust me, you don't want to miss this wild ride. Huge shout out to Definitely Not TKJ, the brilliant mind behind this epic concept. Make sure to show them some love, and as always, a massive thank you to you, my amazing legends, for your unstoppable support. You guys are the real MVPs. Alright, get comfy and get hyped, because Ultra Instinct Deku is about to bring the action. Let's jump right in. Chapter 6. Introductions. I walked home, rather than flying home because according to Ochako it's more fun to spend time together as we approach our destination. I didn't really mind, although I didn't really see a reason we couldn't just fly. Nonetheless, I'm approaching home with Ochako holding onto my arm as we got there, and after a while we were in front of the door. I stopped as we faced the door and Ochako noticed. Deku? What's wrong? I turned to see her head tilted in confusion. I chuckle nervously while running the back of my head. It's just, my mom can be a bit much, I replied. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll be fine, she said with her usual bubbliness. I smiled. Don't say I didn't warn you. I turned the knob to the door and not even 4 steps in were enveloped in a bone-crushing hug. Izuku, you're here. And you brought your girlfriend. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty, my mom exclaimed. I chuckled a little, but I sweat drop as I turned to see Ochako blue in the face. Deku. Can't breathe. Help. She managed to spout out, whole turning a little purple. I warned you, didn't I? I would have thought that you'd deduce my mom being strong as well as me. This was my training, I said. You're a beast, she said while turning a darker shade of purple. /N. Inko retains her figure due to Izuku's progress in training. Naturally, she would want to join and therefore is a lot stronger. Okay, Mom, you can let go now, I reminded her as she released us, and Ochako started breathing very heavily and started clinging onto me in a hug in an attempt to gather herself. Okay, Mom, if you want grandkids, then you probably shouldn't kill my girlfriend, I said. Oh, right, sorry, she said while nervously rubbing the back of her head. Ochako, on the other hand, let go of me and looked at me with her face completely crimson. Grandkids. I don't even try to hold in my laugh as I laugh so hard it could be heard for miles. I struggle to gather myself, but then again I'm not trying to either. She turned redder, if possible, and immediately started punching my shoulder as hard as she could repeatedly. I have been training her more, so it does have more of an effect. Hey, stop that. I was joking. It was a joke, I say, trying to calm her down. She turns around, crossed her arms and lets out a humph, whole still blushing. Don't joke about things like that, she said. Okay, I said with my head down, secretly hiding my smirk. So you do want kids? She once again turns red and I start laughing again. She growls in anger and annoyance. I see the look on her face and immediately pale. I never did go easy on her during training. Because of this, she developed a fierce warrior type side. Great in training, terrifying in anything else. As she looks at me with that side of hers on full display, I feel a drip of sweat go down the side of my head as I immediately run away from her. She of course chases me around the entire place, while my mom just watches in amusement. Get back here, DKU, she yells. A joke. It was a joke. I thought you'd be used to this by now, I said. Now she just started running faster, so I pick up the pace as well. This goes in for about 1 to 2 minutes before I turn around and see Ochako charging me, about to hit me. But I simply catch both hands she tried to hit me with and restrict them to her sides so she looks directly at my face. I bring my face real close to hers and smile. She of course pretends to be angry and pouts. I, however, can read her like a book. I can sense her desires, and it only made me chuckle. So I kissed her, and not even 2 seconds later she melts into the kiss, of course after at least a second of half-heartedly resisting. I kissed her for a good 15 seconds. I slowly pull away and caught a glimpse of her widened smile before she puts on an angry mask and turns away with her arms crossed. I, of course, can still sense her overwhelming happiness, so I just chuckle. I'm sorry, okay? I just like to have fun with you. That's why I tease you. It's just that I don't normally interact with a lot of people, and so I usually do what keeps me entertained, in hopes of being interesting enough for people to stick around. I didn't mean to make you upset. I explained as I stepped forward and hug her from behind. She holds onto my arms as she starts leaning back into me. Plus, your reactions are priceless. I whisper. She turns around and flicks me on my forehead. Ow! What was that for? She smiles at me before she pulls me down to her height and kisses me for a couple of seconds before she releases. Thanks for telling me that, Deku. I know it's probably rough for you because of your childhood, but I'm glad I can make an impact in some way, she says as she brightly smiles at me. Oh woo. I can hear my mom say. Ochako blushes and I chuckle a little. We then proceeded to make conversation so mom gets to know Ochako better. She explains her overarching love of Machi and her ambitions as a hero. We eat dinner and make more conversation. The occasional light, teasing to Ochako and the thump on the forehead in return. We get ready to leave as we say our goodbyes. Bye, Mrs. Midoriya. Thank you for having me, Ochako said with a bow. Oh, please call me Inko, she replied. Okay, Inko, goodbye, she said. We walk away and I start lightly flying Ochako to her place. Ochako seems to be clinging onto me especially tight. The notion is confusing since she's already used to me flying at my higher speeds. I just chalk it up to affection and continue focusing on flying. We get to her place. As I drop her off, her parents seem to be out for now. I turn to leave before she grabs my arm. Wait, she said while her voice was trailing off. I turn to her and she starts staring at me intently. She then just pulls me into her house without saying anything. I'm a little confused. I could simply read her thoughts, but then that wouldn't be interesting. I like mysteries. She then pulls me to the couch while not even minding the fact that she basically dragged me there and now is throwing me on the couch. Before I can even adjust, she sits right on top of me, my stomach and torso in between her legs as she sits on my lower abdomen. She keeps staring at me, almost as if she's hesitating, which is weird considering what's already happened. Before I can even say anything, she immediately interlocks our lips. She's clearly not holding anything back because she starts going deeper and deeper into the kiss, leaving no space between our bodies, so naturally I reciprocate. Her tongue reaches my mouth trying to get in. Once she does, she wastes no time in initiating a battle between the two tongues. After she won, she marks her territory all over my mouth. We stay like this for about 15 minutes before she releases with a string of saliva connecting from both of our mouths. She never broke eye contact once. She simply just waited until she caught her breath and then did it again. I had no problem with it. In fact, I was ecstatic. It was an interesting experience, one I'll never forget. She asked me to stay, so naturally I said yes. Once we got to her room, I lay down, but she takes her place on top of me instead of the bed. She said something about it being more comfortable. I honestly didn't hear or care. I was tired from the constant workout she put my mouth through. I slowly start drifting off to sleep. Before I do, I can feel Ochako kiss my cheek and start whispering, "I love you, Deku. More than you could ever know, you've done a lot for me. Today was only a taste of what I feel. Thank you for everything," she said as she got comfortable straddling me and went to sleep. I, of course, heard the whole thing and went to sleep smiling. Likewise, Ochako. We both wake up with huge smiles on our faces, and this continued all the way up to school. Our classmates were looking at us weird but didn't bother trying to investigate. They were still a little afraid of me because all they remember was me pulverizing the grape on the first day. Unfortunately, school was pretty boring. The only slightly interesting thing was how Ochako refused to sit in her seat, making an argument that my lap was once again more comfortable, and it would help her focus better. Aizawa seemed kinda annoyed, but at the end he simply didn't care and went back to the lesson. After school, I take Ochako to the beach for daily training. I was stretching when I noticed she looked a little down. "Something wrong, Ochako?" I asked while stopping my stretches. She looks up at me with a sad smile. "Well, it's just that. I feel like I'm not getting stronger," she said as I rose an eyebrow. "I mean, I'm getting better control of OFA, and if I push myself, I can get to 30%, but it doesn't seem to matter when I go against you," she said with her head down. "Ochako, I get that you want to be strong, but you're being too hard on yourself. You're making excellent progress, but you're trying to compare yourself to me when I have been training for 11 years. Baby steps," I said, trying to reassure her. She lightens up a little bit as she looks at me. Do you think that once I master OFA, I can be a match for you?" she asked hopefully. "No. Not even close. I replied nonchalantly as she looks down with tears threatening to escape those chocolate brown eyes of hers. To be honest, that was never the point. I continued. She looked up at me, confused with a glimmer of hope. What do you mean? She asked. Well, you see, I say while rubbing the back of my head. Mastering OFA was kinda your pre-training. She looks at me dumbfounded. You mean everything you put me through was just practice? Pretty much. Ochako looked like she was about to faint, but I continued. You see, once you mastered OFA, I was going to teach you how to use level 1 of my quirk, which I like to call instincts. I replied. Instincts is essentially just an enhanced version of your body that relies on your senses and instincts. If you didn't know, your body is capable of much more than it is with a quirk if you rely on your senses and instincts. Be that as it may, it puts an incredible strain on your body, strain that you would most likely die from. She paled at what I said. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Maybe. I whispered that last part, but unfortunately she heard, and a definition didn't help her nerves. Come here, I said, gesturing her to follow me to a bench. I get there and sit down, while Ochako sits on my lap and leans into me as I wrap my arms around her. There's a lot you don't know about my quirk, Ochako. I don't think I gave you a proper explanations, did I? She shook her head in response. Well, my quirk is Ultra Instinct. At its full capabilities, it allows my body to move and fight without thinking and manipulate and control energy and heat, whole also giving me incredibly enhanced senses. With my quirk, you need extreme power with even more extreme control. Without that control, the power leaks out, and you'll either destroy the area around you or yourself, sometimes both. I explained while she noticeably shook at the thought. I try to calm her down and I squeeze tighter and kiss her cheek. She seems more relaxed by this. So I continue. There's a reason I never use my full power because even I can't handle it yet. If I tried, I could go about 30%, maybe 40%, without it leaking out. Of course, I can leak some out to intimidate the opponent. If I went any higher, I would most likely destroy the earth. I stated as her eyes widen in shock. I smile a little bit as I continue. That's why I stress control so much, so I can be able to control my full power. So naturally, you can understand why I haven't taught it to you yet. I wanted to make sure your body couple even begin to endure the stress instincts puts you through. Besides, you'd get amazing power if you were able to tap into instincts. But if you lack the control, one of two things would happen. I said, 1, you would burn yourself to a crisp. 2, you wouldn't be able to hold the power and you would simply blow to pieces. She paled once again at this. The good news is, since you don't have my quirk, you wouldn't burn to a crisp. I explain as she seems to relax a little. The bad news is, there's still a high possibility that you would blow to pieces. She stiffens again. Instincts is very dangerous. Right now you lack the control, speed, and power that your quirk won't give you. So instead of OFA training, we're going into instincts training. That way you can at least be capable of tapping into it. I explained. I can see a determined look in her eyes and it makes me smile. With that said, I say as I gently take Ochako off of me and reach into the bag I brought and give her some clothes. She takes them, but immediately falls to the ground with them as I laugh. She starts grumbling something about stupid boyfriends as I laugh even harder. I finally compose myself. You're going to be training with those weighted clothes to sharpen your speed and strength. I explain as she attempts to put them on. Train? I can barely move, she exclaims while struggling to stand up. You better hope you can move or else these rocks might come in contact with your skin one too many times. I said with a smirk as her eyes widen. I grab a rock and throw it at her. She narrowly manages to dodge, but then I just keep throwing them and eventually I start pelting her. Okay, stop throwing rocks, she said as I obeyed. She seemed confused before she asked something. Why don't they hurt that much? 1, because I'm not throwing it as fast or as hard as I can. 2, because I had those specially made from the support course which helps increase or decrease the amount of weight and or damage it can take. She nods in response. You'll be fine as long as the settings are safe, but I don't feel like letting you off easy, especially since we're technically skipping pre-training. Be prepared to work, or I'll have to spend a lot of energy on trying to heal you. I say with a smirk as she audibly gulps. You are going to be stronger than ever once we're done. Chapter 7 USJ. I walk into class with Ochako on my back. Another day of brutal training passed. She did ask for this. I tried to make it easier on her, but she absolutely refused. I'm beginning to think I'm rubbing off on her a little too much. Not that it matters. She will still always have that bubbly personality of hers. I get to my desk and sat down, placing Ochako on my lap so she can rest her head on my shoulders. She's still wearing weighted clothes, but she seems to be getting used to them. I'll have them changed sooner or later. For now, she can just relax. **, you were right. That was just pre-training. Ochako says with some exhaustion in her tone.
I smiler a little.
Well, I warned you, but you wanted to get to the next level too soon, and now you're paying for it. Just means you'll have to work harder. I replied. She gives a small smile as she pecks my lips. I guess you're right, and I don't regret it, she said while pumping her fist in the air slightly, which only makes me grin more. Out of the corner of my eye, I see the one that looks stupid looking at me. I turn my head to meet his gaze, and then he turns blue in the face and immediately turns his head to the girl with weird ears. Strange.
Mutter.
Not really. They woke up not too long ago not remembering nothing, except you flattening my netta. Ochako replied as she heard my mutter. Who? The grape? Ochako said while sweat dropping. A scowl makes its way into my face as I remember what that perverted grape said about my Ochako. As I'm reminiscing, Aizawa walks into the class. Good morning, class, Mr. Aizawa said in his usual monotonous voice. Today, we will be deciding something that could change your path in UA drastically. We all perk up at this, wondering what he might be referring to. We're choosing a class president. He finished. Something normal? I don't care how you do it. Just get it done, he said as he got into his sleeping bag. I heard murmurs about who the class president should be. I didn't really care for it though. Neither did Ochako by the looks of it. She's just daydreaming, tightening her grip on me. I smile at this when I'm snapped out of my thoughts. All right, everyone. We've decided to take a democratic approach to this. Please cast your votes, Ida said as we each got papers to vote on. I didn't really know nor did I care who to vote for, so I just voted for Ochako, and it seems like she did the same to me. The votes came in and I was pretty shocked. Izuku Midoriya 10 votes, Ochako Uraraka 8 votes, Momo Yaoyorozu 1 vote. I look around the class and most of them are grinning sheepishly, except for a certain 2 people who I'm sure don't need to be named. Why did I get voted for class president? I asked, utterly confused. The weird elbows guy was the one to speak up. WLUC, we thought that since you were the strongest, you could make a good leader. He explained. What are you talking about, elbows? I am the strongest.
Not stupid, Deku.
Kaken protested. I ignore his foolish comment and continue questioning. Is that all? WL, we kinda thought you might hurt us otherwise, which is also why we voted you Uraraka. He replied. I look around the room and sure enough, people were looking at me with fear and nervousness in their eyes. I sweat drop and chuckle lightly. I think I might have broken them. Let's go, Vice Prez. We have an announcement to make, I said as I took Ochako off of me and we both walked up to the front of the class. Ochako with a big grin on her face, radiating positivity, which seems to be putting them at ease. Then there's me. I've got my hands in my pockets, while looking directly at them, not missing a single thing. No grin on my face, my facial expression dead serious. Nothing hostile being sensed, but it is still pretty intimidating. Now let me make one thing clear. I started with a stern tone that made most gulp. My face softens and contorts into a smiling one. I'm not here to hurt people, especially my classmates. I'm here to be a hero, not a villain. I want us all to be friends. Even people like bombs for brains can have a good side, I say, which made people chuckle and said, bombs for brains fume. I guess Ochako is rubbing off on me as well. Usually wouldn't have cared if they feared me or not, especially after all my training with Midnight, which made me cautious of anyone and everyone, which wasn't the case with Ochako. She was very welcoming in every aspect. That's being said, as class president, there's something I want to discuss. I informed them as they listened intently. I turned to Ochako, who is going to finish my statement. We've been observing this class and there's a problem that's been brewing, Ochako said. This got their attention. What problem are you talking about? The strangely well-developed girl said. I see a bit of sweat go down the side of Ochako's head. Well, you see, we've noticed that, it's just Dash. You're all weak, I monotonously said as I cut her off. They just stare at me, blinking twice, before responding. What? Ochako's sweat drops at my bluntness. What do you mean we Dash? The pink girl was about to say. You, I said while cutting her off. You are too simple-minded, you don't take things seriously when you need to. Your quirk should be a force to be reckoned with, yet you could easily get past it. I then turned my attention to the sparkly boy. You are sparkling for all the wrong reasons. What should stand out is your quirk, yet you're painfully weak. Not only do you not have the stamina and endurance to keep up with your quirk, but you spend more time making yourself sparkle, rather than fine-tuning your skills. I turned my attention to the oddly well-developed girl. You seem class president material, right? Wrong. You may do a good job hiding it, but nothing can get past me. I see it in your eyes, the insecurity, the questioning of your own abilities. You feel weak. The only thing weak about you is your mind. Fix that. Your quirk needs to be fine-tuned more. You need a wider inventory of things you can create. Know your limits and surpass them. Go beyond what your quirk can do. That goes for all of you. I turned to Exploder Brains before I put my head down, shaking it, while sighing, like I need to point out his weakness. Lastly, I turned to the dark dual-haired boy. And you make me angry, very angry. You hold yourself back on purpose when you have no valid reason to. Instead of pushing your quirk to its very limit and improving your skills, you settle for where you are right now. I don't know why you do that. Daddy problems? I assume it's daddy problems, I said as his face became filled with almost overwhelming anger. Definitely daddy problems. You all have so many weaknesses that haven't been pointed out until today. As a class, we have to be ready for anything, like villain attacks, and we are only putting ourselves and our comrades in danger because of it. It's time we show UA who we really are. We'll go beyond. Plus ultra. They look at me for a second before the redhead stood up while a tear dripped from his eye. So manly, he said. The majority of the class erupts into smiles as Mr. Aizawa wakes up. Are we done? Good. Time for lunch, he said. On my way to lunch with Ochako, Ida walks up to us. Midoriya, Uraraka, I must say that was a good speech you gave. You're right, we need to get even stronger to become great heroes, Ida said. I smile at this. No worries, Ida, I reply. We get to our lunch table and eat lunch provided to us, but the hero lunch rush. We talked and got to know Ida better. Turns out he's filthy rich. As we were talking, an alarm sounded off. The entire room went into panic mode. What's going on? Ochako said. Someone infiltrated the school, a student said. Ida and Ochako seemed worried, but then glanced at me, who was still eating my lunch. You're not worried, Midoriya? Ida asked. I shrugged. Why should I be? It's just the media, I replied. How do you know? He asked again. Sixth sense, I replied. Only Ochako got it, and Ida seems confused but didn't question further. Although, I said as I looked up from my food to Ochako, who was next to me, and Ida, who's in front of me. I can sense a trace of evil not too far from us. Really? Ochako asked. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're up to something, at least not yet. As long as they don't make a move, neither will we, I replied as I got up to calm down the crowd, with Ochako and Ida following behind. After that, we got back to class where Mr. Aizawa told us that we were going to the unforeseen simulation joint, USJ. Maybe this is when the villains will attack. We got on the bus to head to the USJ. As we arrive, we see the Pro Hero 13. Ochako totally starts fangirling, to which I chuckle at. We get inside as 13 continues to explain to us about using our quirks for rescue, and then I pick up a trace of evil in the atmosphere. They're here. As if on cue, a portal opens and hundreds of villains walk out of it. I turn to see 13 and Eraserhead, about to jump in when I stop them. No, don't go. It's better if I go, I said. What? No, these are villains. We have the experience with them. You're still a kid. Eraserhead reasoned. All the more reason for me to do this. It's better if we keep injuries to a minimum. Besides, this gives me a chance to test my power and control. If I'm not out in 3 minutes, then get the pros, I said. They looked hesitant, but after seeing what I was capable of before, they eventually agreed. Then I was left there alone with hundreds of villains. We are the League of Villains, and we are here to kill All Might. Some guy covered in hands said, "Hey Hansi, what are you doing here?" I yell as I jump down and face them. "Me and my friends over here stopped by to say hi," he said in a raspy voice. "What friends? You mean the ones on the ground?" I reply, "Sure enough, the hundreds of villains are now in the ground, unconscious." "How did you dash?" "Better question," I said while cutting him off. "How exactly did you plan on killing All Might? Aren't you looking a little scrawny to do something like that?" I asked. "That's where my Nomu comes in. He was engineered to kill All Might. A stupid brat like you could never understand."
Handyman replied.
"Stupid," I repeated. Said the guy covered in hands barging into UA with a bunch of D-lister scrubs, a Misty Warp guy, and something that looks like a mutated version of the Rock. I reply as he gets angry. "Shut up, you little brat. You could never understand the greatness that is my Nomu." "Greatness?" I inquire as I burst out into uncontrollable laughter. "Oh yeah, that's some real greatness. I guess that ugly mug is the price for greatness," I said as he got angrier and angrier. "I mean seriously, that looks like the Bird King. He looks like a failsafe for in case you leave. So the guy who created that thing has something ugly to look at to make him feel better about his own face," I said. "Oh man, I really love the exposed brain as well, very bold. Trust me, he is working it," I say as I clutch my stomach while laughing even harder. Hansi gets so mad that I'm not even lying. Steam came out of his ears. "NOMU, get him," Hansi yelled. The thing immediately charged at me. I could fight it to make things interesting, but I'm on a time limit, so as it goes for a punch, I simply jumped over it and punched his exposed brain so hard it smashed into pieces, and the thing fell to the floor dead. I look with boredom, and then turn my gaze to the remaining two villains.
You cheated.
"You cheated," Hansi cried. I scoff at this. "Cheated? What are you, a child?" I said as I flashed towards both villains and knocked them both out. I sigh out of boredom. So much for the League of Villains. I walk out, holding the two leaders unconscious on my shoulders. I skip the shocked gazes of my classmates and stop at Ochako. "How long?" I asked. 2 minutes exactly," she replied with a smile.
"Ah man."
"I was going for 1:30, I replied. "Oh well, I'll just have to get stronger," I said. "Here," I said, giving the two unconscious villains to the pros. "These are the leaders of the so-called League of Villains," I said nonchalantly, as they just dumbly nodded. "All right, time to go train," I said as I gestured Ochako to come with me. She quickly follows me, but not before saying goodbye to everyone, as I wave them off. "Ochako, the sports festival is coming soon. Are you ready to up your training?" I asked while getting ready to take off. "Always," she replied with a smirk. I sighed. She tilts her head in confusion. Then I wrap my arms around her and pull her close. She starts blushing, while looking at me confused. "Sixth sense," I said as she blushed harder, realizing I knew she wanted me to do this. She smiles sheepishly, as she wraps her arms round my neck and pulls me in for a kiss. That lasted for a good while and a half before we take off, ready and willing to push ourselves beyond. Plus Ultra, Chapter 8, Declarations of War. *pant*. Ochako is on her knees trying to catch her breath as I lift myself into the air for a jump to land a punch as she is still catching her breath. My fist nears her face as it's suddenly blocked. Ochako caught my fist perfectly, as she looks up and a faint silver glow shines for half a second before returning to her original brown irises. A normal person might not have caught it, but I did. I smirked in pride. "You've progressed far. You're already nearing the level, however," I say as I force myself through her guard and punch her face so hard the wind picks up 3 seconds after the impact and she goes flying a half a mile away and lands roughly on the sand of the beach, barely conscious as I appear right in front of her. It's not good enough. You see, that is what is called a lie. It's more than good enough, but the point of this training is to overcome all odds and push past your limit, which she will not do if she feels she's doing well already. "No," she shakily said as I rose an eyebrow. She slowly looks up, fighting unconsciousness. "As il succede," she said as she disappears and reappears behind me so fast she could teleport and it wouldn't be as fast. She goes for a power-filled punch, as a light shade of sliver glows through her eyes. She is about to land the punch when I caught it without even looking behind me as she slowly faints out of exhaustion. Before she falls, I caught her and pick her up bridal style. I look down at her tired face and smirk with extra pride. She's progressed even further. She has somewhat the power of instincts, yet lacks the full power and control to complete it. Such a feat would be impossible for the normal person. I recite as I kiss her cheek. "You are amazing, inside and out," I say as I give her enough energy to heal her and fly back to her house. The next day, I decided to walk to school with Ochako before I take her to a nearby alleyway. "What is it, Deku?" she asked me. "Take your shirt off," I reply without knowing how I sounded. "Deku, I never thought you'd be that kind of person," she replies with red cheeks and covering her chest. I tilt my head in confusion and then facepalm. "I meant your weighted clothes," I reply while dragging my hand to trace the bridge of my nose. Her face turns red out of embarrassment. I'm so sorry I misjudged you," she said while bowing repeatedly. I chuckle and place my hand on her shoulder. "It's fine, I'm not mad," I reply while smiling. She smiles too and kisses me. "It's just," she begins while putting her head down in embarrassment. "I actually want you to see me like that, just not now, so I got a little surprised," she said, explained as her face turned crimson. I chuckle lightly. "Don't worry about it. I'd never impose on your privacy," I assure her. "I'm glad you trust and care about me with that stuff, especially due to my rough childhood," I explain, whole grimacing at the memory. "About that," she began. "What exactly happened to make you so touchy about your childhood?" she genuinely asks. I'm a bit hesitant to explain, but she is my girlfriend and student. I have to tell her. "I was first diagnosed quirkless. The doctors confirmed it, but the analysis was wrong. I just wasn't capable of activating it at will, and even if I was, my body wasn't compatible, which is why I nearly died when I first used it," I explain as her eyes widened. "Because if this, I was bullied by everyone, teachers and students alike. I was known as the wannabe hero due to my strong values. I would get jumped every other day by new people, but the one that was always there was Bakugo," I explain as she grits her teeth and growls. She never did like Bakugo, but this seemed to have deepened the hatred. Sometimes they would do it in front of teachers. They wouldn't even bat an eye. There was one time that a bunch of people ganged up and used their quirks on me. I was beaten so bad that I almost died," I explains as a tear drops from her eye, but I quickly wipe it off. "If not for an adult passing by, I would have died for sure." Me being me, tried to turn this into a positive and call it endurance training. Of course, I subconsciously used my energy to heal myself, which is why I never went to the hospital. I was slowly getting more and more depressed. I would never show it though. I would continue with my dream and hope it would stop, but it never did. I was walking home one day from another beat down. It didn't hurt as much, but it hurt twice as much inside. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't fight back because I had no control over my power, and one slip-up could have killed them. And the teachers seemed against me for some reason. But then, I look up and smile at her. "I saw you," I explain. "I didn't know how, but something just attracted me. Whether it was the positivity I could feel radiating off of you, or how cute you looked walking without a care in the world, I will never know. That's why I love you, Ochako. You attract me in ways I can't understand. You work hard and persevere no matter what, and I really admire that. It was because of you that I got the extra motivation to train harder than you ever to make sure I can protect that happiness and share it with others. Who knows? Maybe it will help them like it did me," I explain as she starts tearing up. She immediately rushes me and hugs me really tightly before kissing me as deeply as she can. "Thank you. I didn't know all that happened to you. I'm just glad that I was able to help," she replies while burying her face into my chest. "I should be thanking you. Now, take it off and let's go." She nods as I turn to let her take off the weight's clothes. Once we get into school and head to class, there's an unnatural surge of killing intent flowing through the room. We all can feel it. Some are shivering, some have their eyes slightly widened, and one grape peed his pants. I turn my head to see Ochako, standing next to me while holding my hand, staring directly at the explodey boy himself, or more like glaring directly at him, to which he picks up on. "What do want, round face?" he asked/demanded. She slowly lifts her free arm and points at him while her eyes take a darker shade of color, and her voice grows frighteningly deeper as she squeezes my hand very tightly, which starts to throb only a little. "You. The moment I get a chance, I will come after you. When that moment comes, I will destroy you and make you feel true pain. Consider it a declaration of war," she said with so much venom in her voice. A snake would be jealous. I pale and chuckle nervously as the rest of the class shivers. Bakugo, being Bakugo, just scoffs. "You couldn't touch me without Deku being your knight in shining armor, and he's still not stronger than me. You have no chance," he confidently said. I put my head down, sigh, and shake my head. Was that sexist? Or stupid? Or was it sexist and stupid? Or was it just being Bakugo? Similar thoughts play in my head as Ochako unknowingly charges up one for all. I stop her before she could do any damage and bring her to my seat and sit her down on my lap so she can relax. I finally calm her down, and now we're just waiting for Aizawa. Once he comes in, he explains to us about the upcoming sports festival. "Okay, class, as some of you know, the UA Sports Festival is coming up in 2 weeks, and this is a big deal," he informs us. "What's the sports festival?" Kirishima asks. "Are you kidding me? It's like the biggest event of the year. It is like how big the Olympics were before quirks started showing up. Now there's the UA Sports Festival." Kaminari explains. "Exactly correct," Aizawa confirms. "1 chance a year. 3 chances in a lifetime. As an aspiring hero, you can't afford to miss this event," he explains. I smirk in pure excitement. Ochako does the same. Now I can really test myself. We both simultaneously thought. As we were finishing up class, Ochako opens the door to find a large crowd of students gathered up at our door. She screams out of pure shock and surprise. "Why are all these people here?" she asks. I walk up to her, and sure enough, there's a large crowd of students standing at the door. "Don't worry about it. These guys are just the other extras. I mean first years," I explain. Some of the students are fuming at my slip-up. They're just here to check the competition. After all, we're the class that defeated the up-and-coming League of Villains, or should I say, I am the student who defeated them, I say as they gasp. "Hey, that's not true." "Yeah, you're lying. I'm better than you," were some of the things I heard. I roll my eyes and tune them out until I hear another voice. "So this is class 1, huh?" someone said. I see some guy walk out. He has purple hair and tired eyes. I don't see what the big fuss about this class is. From what I can tell, they're stuck-up jerks who need a reality check, he stated. "Whoa, you look like Aizawa. Are you related?" Ask. "What? No, is he your dad?" "That's not Dashta. He never told us he had a son." He gets even more frustrated as Ochako giggles. He composes himself once again. "Funny," he sarcastically replied. "I thought so too," I cheerily replied. "My name is Hitoshi Shinso. That I wanted to be in the hero course, but I wasn't allowed. The sports festival is my chance to make it. As for checking out the competition, I'm just here to give you warning. Consider it a declaration of war. If you don't give it your all, I'm gonna take your spot right from under you," he states. "You know, if you want into the hero course, you could have just asked. As class president, I'm sure we could make room. Anyone up for kicking out the grape?" I ask as everyone except said grape raises their hands. "What? But I never got to touch a girl," he says as he lunges towards Momo and surprisingly gets frozen by the wannabe emo. We all look in shock, and he simply just shrugs and turns his attention back to the crowd. "Anyways, even if I did do that, you still have to prove yourself to me. You talk big, but I prefer actions rather than words," I reply with a smirk while cracking my knuckles. A trace of a smirk creeps its way onto his face as he walks away with a cryptic, "See you then." Then a blonde walks up to me with a crazed look in his eyes. "You must think you're so special, huh?" this creepy blonde said. "Well then, Class 1 a scum. I'll have you know that Class 1B is superior in every way," he triumphantly yells. "Except in proper sanity." Ochako whispers in my ear as I chuckle. "What was that? Say it to my face, you piece of trash," he yells. I grow a giant tick mark on my forehead, but keep my cool. Trash, are we? I began. Well then, care to make it interesting? I say with a smirk. He raises one of us crazy eyebrows. If you can land one hit in me in the next 30 seconds, then we admit that Class 1B is superior to Class 1A and we will drop out of the festival. I say, what? Most of the class yells. Relax. I assure them. It'll be fine. You should trust in your class president. I say. The blonde guy starts evilly laughing as I and the rest of my class sweat drop. That's the easiest bet ever, he said. Let's shake on it, he said. I reach my hand out as he continues. Now I'll show you and the rest of your pathetic class how much superior we are. Especially that fat, pink-cheeked chipmunk you call a girl, he said as I stopped my hand midway. My bangs cover my eyes as the ground starts to shake from the power being put out by me. My class shivers in fear, as do the other classes, as Ochako smirks out of the thought of revenge. New condition. I always with venom in my voice. You will wear what I tell you to the sports festival. I explain as I lift my head up to show the fire in my eyes. Are we understood? I ask/yell. He nods quickly and shakes my hand, to which he smirks after. Now I'll defeat you, he said as he activated what I thought to be his quirk. It was actually mine that I raise an eyebrow as I feel the power of Ultra Instinct come on. Heat slowly rises from his body as it covers him and energy flows in all directions, almost knocking people off their feet. He then screams in pain as he falls to the floor unconscious, looking like a burnt pancake. Everyone looks in shock and then turns to me, who is currently facepalming. You might want to get more information on the quirk next time you steal it, I said while shaking my head. They pick up the burnt body to bring to Recovery Girl. Wait, I shouted. I evilly smirked. Don't forget the bet. I'll let you know what you're wearing, I said. They nod quickly as they run away. I turn to my class, which most of them are shocked. Ochako walks up to me and kisses me on the cheek and hugs me. All right, let's get to lunch, I cheerily say. On the way there, All Might runs up to us. Young Midoriya ABD Uraraka are here, he exclaims. Hey All Might, what's up? Ochako asks. Lunch. You want to eat with me? He asks. After we accept, he brings us to the teacher's lounge. I also called you here to talk about the sports festival. This is a big deal, as you know, where you put your name out there, he says as he turns to us. Young Uraraka, I expect big things from you. I want you to show the world who you are. Proudly exclaim that you are here. There are those who settle with what they have and are fine with it, but others fight for the top spot and won't rest until they are number one. Are you ready to take in the challenge? He asks. She gives a look of pure determination and nods, to which I smile at. Good, he said as he turned to me. For you, young Midoriya, there have been some slight regulations set for only you, he explains as I tilt my head in confusion. Chapter 9. Welcome to the sports festival. What? I hate everything, I screamed out in frustration and annoyance as I paced back and forth. Ochako's sweat dropped at my temper tantrum and laughed nervously. It's not that bad, right? She asked hopefully. I turn and look at her like she's insane. You're joking, right? Ask. Flashback. Regulations like what? I asked confusingly. He then took out an actual list and looked up at me and Ochako to get our attention. He cleared his throat before he started. According to Principal Nizu, you are hereby prohibited from the following: floating, flying, using energy and heat in any way, shape, or form. You are prohibited from using any trace of your full power and are limited to 10% of your normal power, and you must put yourself at some sort of disadvantage or we will force it in you. Actually, we'll force it on you either way. You are not allowed to easily win. It must be a close call or a loss. That is all. Have a wonderful day. Your cute and cuddly Principal Nizu. All Might finished. He looked up to see my eyes nearly out of their sockets. Same with Ochako. I blinked twice just to see if it was real, and unfortunately it was. After a minute of silence and wide-eyed staring, I finally managed to say something. What? Flashback end. Ochako sheepishly rubs the back of her head while giving a nervous smile. Oh yeah, I forgot they said all that. I continue my pacing. Slight regulations? Slight. Are you sure they didn't forget? Oh hey Midoriya, we would also like you to carry a planet, and while you're at it, if you breathe, then you're disqualified. Ha 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 ha. 'Cause that would be real fair, right? I crazily screamed as Ochako's sweat dropped. I take a deep breath and calm myself. I look at the palm of my hand and close it into a fist. I guess this is how I challenge myself. Like All Might said, there are those who settle and those who strive for the top position. Being the best isn't easy, and this is just proving it, but I'll get past this challenge no matter what. I'll overcome the odds just like I did back then. I'll go beyond, plus ultra, I said enthusiastically. Ochako breathes a sigh of relief as she goes in to kiss me. That's the spirit. I know you can overcome this, but I won't make it easy for you, she said with a smirk. I smirk back at her. Nor would I want you to, I told her. It's time we part ways on our training. We need to focus for the sports festival in 2 weeks. I don't want to gain any advantages over you. Okay, she nods in response. Keep working on your instincts and try to get used to having your weighted clothes off, I explain as she nods again. 2 weeks later, these past 2 weeks would normally be spent trying to gain control over my full power, but I made sure to put myself through the ringer to make sure that my 10% is strong enough. I want to put my name out there, even if I'm being held back. It's just more of a challenge. I feel more than ready. I have been keeping my control as a top priority as well. Taking my focus off of control can be bad, especially if I'm trying to grow my strength. I walk into the locker room where the rest of our class is with a confident look on my face. I was ready for anything. I look for Ochako and I see her sitting at a table, so I go and stand next to her. So, how did training go? I ask as I lean in for a kiss. After she accepts it, she replied, I could ask you the same thing, I chuckled. Well, I had to keep in mind about my situation, so I believe I'm ready, I reply. She smiles and nods her head. We keep talking after that until a certain person walks up to me. A person that, if it wasn't for his dual-colored hair, I would call an emo. Midoriya. He began in his deep voice as I and everyone turned to face him. From an objective standpoint, I think it's pretty obvious that you're stronger than me. But know this, I know you've been holding out on us, which means you don't consider me a threat. I will prove you wrong by beating you in the sports festival, he stated while looking me dead in the eye. Now everyone was looking at me give Todoroki a bored look. That's quite the statement coming from you, righty? I say with smirk as he scowls. I give him a closed-eyes smile. I'm gonna say this once and once only. I began as I walked right past them. You and anyone in this room will never beat me, ever. You, Todoroki, wouldn't be able to touch me. I'm going for the top and you're welcome to stop me, but you can't and you won't. Care to prove me wrong? You're welcome to try, I stated as I walked away. I left Todoroki grumbling, Boom Boom Boy fuming, and Ochako smirking. To be honest with you, they all can and will try and prove me wrong. I want them to, because then I will truly be able to overcome the odds, which Ochako must have recognized. Now it's on to the sports festival. We got to the arena and we are waiting to be called out. Ladies and gentlemen, heroes all around, welcome to this year's sports festival, where the third years, second years, and of course, the first years will be competing to see who will win this event, President Mike passionately exclaimed. Now, from the first years, please welcome the class that managed to defeat villains. Class 1A, we walked out, pride showing in our faces and of course the occasional glares sent at me. But ignore them, I managed to turn them against me and that's all that matters. Ochako is standing next to me, holding my hand as a giant smirk is on her face. What's with the look? I whisper in her ear. She then turned to me and replied, I get a chance to go at Bakugo, she said in a dark and creepy voice that made me shudder. Now introducing Class 1-B, President Mike unsurely said. We turned to look and our eyes widen. There was Class 1B with the ugliest shirts I've ever laid eyes on and visibly dirty underwear strapped to their heads. The repulsive shirts each said, Class 1B is, underwear Class 1A is, brought to you by Izuku Midoriya of Class 1A. We all just stared at them while their faces were red out of embarrassment and they were currently glaring at the crazy blonde kid. Then someone starts erupting in laughter in the crowd and the rest of us joined. Ochako was clutching her stomach while I was on the floor rolling around in laughter. Even Todoroki cracked a smile. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. After we get ourselves together and Present Mike introduces the other classes. Midnight shows herself, looking as exposed as ever. Are you sure a high school teacher should be wearing that? Tokoyami asks while shaking his head. Clearly Midnight cares not if people are staring at her. No, I know she doesn't. She's made it very clear beforehand. I shiver at the thought. I'm broken out of my thoughts as I hear my name. And now, a few words from the freshman representative, Izuku Midoriya, she happily exclaimed. I walk up to the stage where she is. My, look how you've grown. I've known little Izuku here since he was just a boy. Now look at you, all grown up, and very handsome as well, she said as she pressed her body up to my back and lightly licked my cheek before kissing it. I and the rest of the teachers' sweat dropped and the boys were looking jealous. Suddenly, everyone in the entire stadium felt a massive wave of killing intent. People instantly got scared and swung their heads side to side while trying to see where it was coming from. I, however, didn't need to guess because it was directed straight at me. I slowly turned my head to see Ochako glaring daggers into my very soul. The color from my face drains away as I start visibly sweating. Before she actually attempts to kill me, I cleared my throat to get everyone's attention. As stated, I'm Izuku Midoriya. I don't have much of a speech, more like a warning. I'm going for the win, and I won't let anyone stop me. No matter how many are against me, I will succeed no matter what it takes. I will win this entire thing. That is not a prediction. It's a spoiler. I say as I walk off the stage with my hands in my pockets. I got the usual glares and complaints and rioting because of my claim. I ignore them because now that the warning is done, I have to keep myself from being killed. I rush over to Ochako, who is still glaring at me. I chuckle nervously and start sweating. I know you're mad, but you have to understand it's not what you think, I frantically said. Explain, she said in a voice so dark, I wouldn't dare oppose. She was one of the people who trained me. She helped me develop my senses and instincts to avoid danger at all costs. It's just how she acts. It means nothing, I promise. I explain. I'm unsure of what to do since she's still glaring daggers into me. Fine, she said as I breathed a sigh of relief. But you still have to pay me back. How? She pointed at her lips. Kiss me, now. It's the sports festival. What if someone sees? What if She cut me off and kissed me anyways. It was more of a makeout, though. Luckily, no one saw us. And a good thing because she decided this was the perfect time to start slobbering all over my mouth. We finished shortly after Midnight explained the rules of the first event. I wiped my mouth and playfully glared at Ochako. Really? What? You want more? She asked somewhat seductively as she smirked. Not now. We have to focus, I reply. Unlike you, I was focusing on the outside world as well. And I heard something that sounded like a decree message. They said, the first 3 minutes will be a doozy, but once past it, you will truly shine. I explain. So you mean? Chako began. I sigh and nod my head. I bring my hands to my head and start rubbing my temples. This is gonna be so annoying. On your marks. Midnight suddenly began. Get set, Joe. She yelled as everyone rushed forward to begin the obstacle race, which was the first event. All left except me, who looked like a weirdo, not moving and just frustratingly standing there. I stood there with gritted teeth and a visible tick mark on my forehead as I wait for 3 minutes. I hear Present Mike explaining things as I wait. I only hear certain things like how Todoroki, Bakugo, and Ochako are the ones in the lead. I smile a little, but it turns back into a scowl. 3 minutes later and everyone is about at the final stage as I let out a sigh of relief. Yes! I scream as everyone turns to me. I get in a running stance and look up with a smirk. No heat, energy, floating or flying. No problem. I'll show you just how right I was when I made those claims. I thought, although I didn't know it, people were laughing at me because of my confident claims, thinking I was all talk. Oh, how wrong they were. I waste no time and speed my way down the course. Everyone went wide-eyed at my speed, and the ones laughing at me were choking on their own spit in surprise. I speed my way to find 0-pointers, but I don't have time for those because I know that the race is about to finish soon. Third-person POV. What's this? Izuku Midoriya, the one standing and doing nothing, just sped and bulldozed through the zero-pointers like it was nothing. Present Mike exclaimed. Everyone who heard this went wide-eyed. Midoriya? Todoroki thought. No way. I won't let that stupid Deku beat me. Bakugo exclaimed. I have to hurry, or Deku is gonna win. Chaco thought. Meanwhile, Deku destroyed the robots and is speeding towards the next obstacle, which has seemingly bottomless pits with platforms and ropes connected to them. However, Deku was in no mood to stop, so he ran and jumped to the next platform, jumping from one leg to the other, platform to platform, scaling these pits like they were nothing. Whoa! Izuku Midoriya has passed the second obstacle in seconds. Present Mike shouted. Everyone was getting worried. I mean, how could he catch up in less than a minute? I will win this! Todoroki exclaimed, while avoiding as much mines as possible. Stupid Deku! Bakugo exclaimed as he was exploding himself towards the finish line. I have to hurry before Deku catches up, said Ochako as she charged up one for all further. Too late. Kamiya voice. If I can't fly, then I'll do the next best thing, Deku thought. Suddenly they all heard an enormous explosion and everyone stopped to see what it was. They all looked with wide eyes at the explosion before seeing a figure emerge. They looked with shock to see Deku gliding through the air like a bird, giant smirk plastered on his face and his eyes set on three certain people. I don't know how it happened, but Izuku Midoriya went from standing in last place to all the way to the top and is heading straight for first place. Present Mike shouted. True to his words, Deku flew right over Todoroki, Bakugo, and Ochako. That's how you take first place, Deku yelled. The others stated with their jaws dropped. Deku blew himself up with no protection whatsoever, yet was completely fine. DKU, what do you think you're doing, huh? Bakugo yelled as he charged forward. This ice path will end up helping others in the end, but I have to win.
Todoroki fought.
I have to win this, Chaco thought. Suddenly, all three people rush forward to catch up to Deku. Deku is falling down fast and is about to land. The three are neck and neck with each other and Deku is about to land with them, passing ever so slightly by Deku. It seems they're about to take the lead, but Deku smirks and plants his feet on Todoroki and Bakugo's backs, puts a hand on Ochako's back and brings his right hand down to the ground, which slams into it, creating a massive explosion which launches Deku forward at exponential speeds, so much so that he flew all the way past the minefields and through the hall and landed face first into the grass of the middle of the stadium, sliding a good 20 feet before stopping. Izuku Midoriya wins, Present Mike shouted. The whole crowd was silent for 3 seconds before they erupted into cheers. Deku, who was still face first into the ground, groaned as he got up and wiped himself off. Well, the ending was less than graceful, but at least I won, and it was pretty close, he thought. He finally got to his feet and looked out into the crowd and managed to smile. What else you got? Anything you throw at me can and will be defeated. Just watch me. Chapter 10. Sports Festival. Cavalry Battle. Deku POV. I stand there basking in the excitement of my super awesome and super flashy win as I hear running and slight panting behind me. Deku, Ochako said as she takes a breath and runs up to me with stars in her eyes. That was amazing. I can't believe you got first place. I'm jealous, she said while jumping up and down. I smile and rub the back of my head. Yeah, I did win even with the handicap. I wonder what the next challenge is gonna be. I wondered. I can see Ida pretty shaken by the fact that I took first place with a 3-minute pause. Boom Boom Boy is fuming as usual, muttering things about stupid Deku, and he got lucky. I sigh as I turn to Todoroki, who looks slightly frustrated by this. From what I can tell, Ochako just barely got second place with Todoroki in third and Exploder Brains following behind. I'm snapped out of my thoughts as Midnight gets back on the mic. Congrats on finishing the obstacle course, students, she yelled. But now we will once again choose the next event. As Midnight said, the next event was being decided and the choice was finally made. A cavalry battle. She then proceeds to explain all the rules for this cavalry battle. For this event, you and your fellow students will team up in teams of 2 to 4. You will work together to get the points from other teams. However, if you lose points, you will have the opportunity to get the points back before time runs out. She explains as we nod in understanding. The way the points will work is that each person from last to first will have a point value. For example, 42nd will have 5 points, 41st will have 10, so on and so forth. However, she began as a big evil smirk lands on her face. First place will be allowed 0 teammates, and his point value is, she began as I widened my eyes at the earlier proclamation and others smirk. Silence. Nothing but silence as I stand there frozen. I can feel the evil gazes full of lust for power and victory trace my figure as I stand there in an invisible block of ice, too shocked to move. It feels like their eyes turned completely red, like they're completely possessed. I feel like I'm in a giant lion cage with a large piece of meat on my back, or like a piece of candy in front of kids after eating vegetables. It's survival of the fittest. Midnight began with that sadistic smirk plastered on her face. Let's see how you handle this. Everyone starts moving around trying to find teammates, while I just stand there still shocked. I should be able to handle this, right? Yes, I should. But I'm so restricted, and I'm supposed to make it a close match. How will I do that without getting my points taken? I wonder. I take a deep breath and calm down. I can do this. Remember the training, we want to be in control. I can win this, I just have to find a way to implement a strategy without my powers. I conclude in my head. Hey Deku! I hear as I turn around to see Uraraka smiling at me. I wanted to say, good luck. She finished as she kissed me. I smile at her and gain a look of determination on my face. Thanks. Good luck to you as well. I won't go easy on you. She smirks in response. Right? She heads over to her team as I sit down crisscross, thinking of an effective plan that will allow me to not show too much with what I can do right now. Then Midnight begins to speak again. Are our teams ready? She asks as Bombs for Brains has a sinister grin on his face. Todoroki has a focused look on his face as I get up from my position and tie the 100 million point headband around my head and open my eyes with a determined look. Ready. She grins as she yells, begin! As expected, everyone rushes me for the points as I just stay there with my eyes closed and head slightly looking down, feeling everyone charge at me. I keep my cool as I'm in no immediate danger. Then, my legs start to have an odd sensation as I open my eyes to see the ground reformed and my legs sinking in. I look up to see a guy with a weird face, along with his team, charging at me. Must be this guy's quirk. Interesting. As they are about to catch up, I simply lift my legs up and jump super high into the air as the crowd and students watch in amazement. How can he jump so high? A student with a quirk similar to Kirishima's said, ladies and gentlemen, can you believe it? What a jump! Present Mike yelled, as the crowd cheered. As I'm in the air, I notice something headed straight for me. I recognize these as Jiro's earphone jacks, and they look like they're about to connect since I'm in the air. Unable to dodge, I smirk while in the air and I twist myself to the side, so I pass through the space between the earphone jacks as I lightly pull on them and launch myself toward her, spinning in the air like a corkscrew. The crowd watches in awe as I reach her, and in what seems like slow motion, I see her eyes widen as I smirk lightly and take her points and then go from my corkscrew position to landing on the ground in a crouch position with my right hand in front of me on the ground and my left hand off to the left with the points in my hand. Whoa! What a move by Izuku Midoriya. Present Mike comments. Yes, that was very impressive. Aizawa agrees. Jiro's eyes are still wide in shock as she tries to register what just happened. What? But I could barely see him. Jiro exclaimed, I'm sure more headbands wouldn't be a problem. They could help in some way. I say with a smile that soon dissipates as more teams rushed me with the intent to sandwich me. I look to my left to see Shoji running at me by himself. My eyes narrow, wondering why he's alone as I feel 2 more signatures very close to him, as if they're on top. Sue and Grape. I mutter as I avoid stepping on a purple ball.
Hi Midoriya.
He said mockingly as I avoid a tongue slap. Impressive moves as usual. Sue replies in her usual down-to-earth tone. So they teamed up, knowing that with their statures they can be fully hidden by Shoji's quirk. Smart. Unless someone has some lengthy quirk, then it's pretty ingenious. I think as I gracefully dodge all the balls and tongue attacks being thrown at me. A ball to my right allows me to sway to the left as her tongue attacks me and I duck and jump, avoiding all of the attacks. I decide to end the onslaught by jumping high into the air to avoid any more attacks. It works for a little until Exploder Brains comes flying at me with his quirk. "Don't you dare think you're safe," he yells as he charges his quirk. "I've got you." As he's about to attack, I look at him with a blank face as the exploding hand nears my face, and in the blink of an eye, I redirect the exploding hand back to his face, and he ends up blowing himself up in the face as he gets sent flying back until Zero caught him. I land shortly after to see that Bakugo had his headband stripped. "Your class is too simple-minded. Think bigger," said the crazy guy I won the bet against, his stupid shirt showing in all its glory. I struggled to keep myself from laughing as he tried to look intimidating with underwear on his head. Turns out that all of Class 1B planned some sort of plan to win the sports festival. Fairly well thought out plan, except they forgot that Bakugo has the shortest temper ever. Well, they're dead. I conclude, with all of Class 1B not after me, my odds are lowering. I may not have to do any more fighting. I'm snapped out of my thoughts as I come face to face with Team Todoroki and his death glare. "I'll be taking that now," he said. I only smirk excitedly as I see his team. Ida in the middle, Yaoyorozu on the left, Ochako on the right, Todoroki on the top. "Ooh, this is gonna be good," I thought. "By all means, righty." I began as he scowls and I taunt him to come forward. "Come and get me." Then his team charges forward. "Uraraka, get rid of opposing teams," Todoroki ordered. "Right," she replied as she charged up one for all in her left arm and swung it to knock the others back. Then Todoroki proceeded to freeze the others and take some extra headbands too. Yaoyorozu created some sort of weapon for Todoroki to use as the ground became ice. He charged at me along with his team as he shot ice out. I look on briefly as I simply roll my upper body under the ice and proceed to jump away from the ice being thrown repeatedly. He eventually gets close and Uraraka charges one for all and Yaoyorozu creates a metal bat. Both swing at me and I stand there and bring my forearms up to block. They see it had no effect and Todoroki tries his weapon, but I front flip over it and Todoroki and reach out, grab Uraraka by the shoulders and peck her on the lips before I landed away from them, proceeding to yawn. Ochako starts chuckling and feeling her lips, to which her teammates look at her. "What is it?" Ida asked. "He's toying with us. He's not even trying to go after us," she explained. Todoroki growls and is about to shoot more ice, but I stopped him. I began. "You wouldn't want to do that now, would you?" I taunt. He scowls some more after realizing what I meant. If he fired, he would hit Ida. If he moved, I'd just move to the other side. With no options, his chances were looking slim until Ida mentioned something. "Todoroki," he began, "I'm about to do something that will render me utterly useless to you." "What are you talking about, Ida?" Todoroki asked. "Make sure you get that headband," he said. He then charged in seemingly a blink of an eye and my headband was stripped right off of me. They stopped and the others were shocked at what happened. Ida looked up and smirks while panting. "I've proven I can beat you, Midoriya," he said. My eyes are wide as are the others. Then I waste no time and rush forward. Todoroki prepares his fire, probably without realizing it. I have a focused look on my face as I swipe the air, causing Todoroki's arm to shoot to the side. I then grabbed the headband. "I got it!" I shout in victory. I then realized that I grabbed the incorrect headband. "You really think we'd put it on the top? You underestimate us." Yaoyorozu spoke confidently. Then Exploder Brains burst onto the scene trying to get the points as I rush to Todoroki and Boom Boom Boy changes directions. "Icy hot!" he shouts. We both rush forward but stop dead in our tracks as we hear, "Time's up!" Exploder Brains falls face first to the floor. As I put my head down, my bangs over my face. "Looks like that confidence of yours was your downfall," Todoroki stated as Yaoyorozu and Ida nodded in agreement. Ochako looked indifferent. She probably didn't know what to feel. I look up at the victorious looks on their faces as I stand up straight. On the contrary, Yaoyorozu, I began as I smirk victoriously while twirling two headbands on my fingers, and I grab the one in my right and tie it over my head to reveal the 100 million points. "You underestimate me." Everyone stares at me wide-eyed, even the teachers. But how?" Yaoyorozu sputters out in shock. I sigh and explain, "Well, I began. When Ida pulled that stunt of his, I could see him coming from a mile away. When Todoroki reached for my headband, the moment he took it, I swapped it out for my second headband. while hiding the value of my 100 million. I made sure to play the part so you wouldn't notice, and then I tried to take the other headband to convince further. I decide to take back the headband you took, because why not? Finished. The others look on in shock as Todoroki growls, probably for not noticing and using his fire for no actual reason. Well, it was fun, but I'm hungry, see ya, I said as I walked off. Present Mike calls for lunch as we go on break, but I'm pulled aside by Todoroki. He looks at me with his cold eyes as I look at him with interest and wonder. We need to talk. That's it for part 2, Legends. The journey just keeps getting crazier, and there's more where that came from. If you're loving the content, smash that like button, subscribe for more mind-blowing what-if stories, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And, of course, show some appreciation to Definitely Not TKJ for their incredible ideas. Thank you for being the absolute legends that you are. Your support keeps this channel alive and kicking. Stay tuned for even more epicness, and I'll catch you in the next one. Keep that Ultra Instinct energy high and peace out.